My guest this morning is a presidential hopeful. And my guest has a great knowledge and understanding of Nigerian political economy. I'll try to engage him a little bit this morning. He was born in University College Hospital, Ibadan in 1959. He has studied economics, law, and information sciences. He has a Doctor of Humanities awarded by Commonwealth University, Belize. Over 25 years of professional experience covering law, consultancy, social and public service, with a rich and ever-growing understanding of international development issues. He was equally with DFID and some other international partners. And on his website, he talked about unlocking good governance. He said, when elective and appointed government officials demonstrate capability in skills, knowledge, and attitude, then we have good governance. He said they must show commitment to accountability, particularly to the people. For him, good governance is about leadership responsiveness to the people's needs. I'll be interrogating his thoughts about Nigeria in a moment. Welcome, Sina Fagbenro-Byron. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Thank you very much, my brother. How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Nice to...
You want to be Nigerian president come 2019?
By the grace of God, yes.
Okay. We'll take a look at that thought. Now, let me start from this point. My thought is to take a look at the basic issues you have observed as the problems in Nigeria. Now, in your analysis of what Nigeria has confronted for some years back, particularly the democratic dispensation with the Fourth Republic, I'd like you to outline for me the basic three major problems confronting Nigeria today, which we think we need to do things differently.
Okay. I'll do it in two dimensions. Thank you very much. First of all, I'll give what I call a lateral explanation to that, because everything comes in layers. You see, you cannot deliver governance if the mechanisms or the spirit or the manner in which the production of those who will rule is played. I think we've played the politics of a divisiveness from the outset. So that's on one layer. I think the way that we play politics hasn't been very welcoming. But beyond that, Nigeria has had problems in managing its diversity. It's had problems in managing its mass. And thirdly, we do not have a defined national interest. A national interest that sees the citizen as the center of services to be delivered. Rather, we have something very vague around, Africa being the center of our foreign policy. And because we don't have a national interest that is tidy and focused on the Nigerian citizen, people start questioning that who is a Nigerian and what is Nigeria protecting about me. Nigeria is made up of a diversity of nations. It is a unique country, and the beauty is in its diversity. But what can be your strength can also be your undoing if you don't manage it well. Because we are diverse and our leaders have not been able to manage our diversity, we have a problem. So instead of having mutually supportive ethnic groups, we are having ethnic groups in conflict with each other, including religious groups in conflict with each other. Then we can't manage our mass. Nigeria is a huge country in terms of populations. Unfortunately for us, we have written into our constitution unwittingly an incentive to continue to produce children without the responsibility to take care of them. Take, for example, your constitution, your revenue allocation has a lot to do with, it says, population is a factor by which revenue is shared among states. And if I know that population is a factor, that revenues will be shared to my state, I will either inflate figures or I get my people to just produce children. Now, there is no corresponding provisions in the Constitution. And this is why a lot of people have been asking for restructuring. You see, because the current structure, the structure has to do with constitutional arrangements, right? Distribution of powers, and where the incentives lie. So the kind of incentives we have in our Constitution are incentives that are not pro-development. But, that's just putting it, But the third thing which I mentioned was the issue of the absence of a national interest. And I say that Nigeria should define its own national interest. Now, I'm bringing to the table, I have defined, what I believe should be Nigeria's national interest.
I'll take you up on that. You've outlined three issues.
Yes.
You said we've played the policy of divisiveness.
Yes.
You said that we are unable to manage our diversity and mass.
Yes.
And that we are unable to define our national interest.
Yes.
The three critical issues. And you also made a swerve into the Constitution.
Yes.
The Constitution, as it were, maybe
Yes.
I should pick up some things about the Constitution for you.
Yes.
First is this. If you look at the Constitution, we talked more about sharing.
Yes.
Sharing resources,
Yes.
sharing positions, using federal character.
Mm-hmm.
But I found it difficult to find a place in our Constitution where you talked about production.
Yes, because...
where we produce things.
God bless
you.
you.
What is wrong with this Constitution?
God bless you. That's part of it. You see, a Constitution is supposed to provide, is a ground norm. It's supposed to reflect a ground norm. That is the essence of a nation, how that nation will be driven. What is going to be the factors that will drive this nation? What will it throw all its resources at to protect? And in the process of doing that, a constitution is a system. It's an economy, which means there must be production and there must be distribution. What is happening is that the constitution has provided incentives and arrangements for dividing. And this is part of why, you say, it's rather ironic that we come from a background where our rulers have only ruled us by dividing us. That's where you have divide and rule. It started with the colonial days, the politics of the previous parties and those who are ruling the country today. It's the politics of divide and rule because they were taught by those people. And that's the only way they know how to do it. So it says to the resources too. So in managing the resources, the whole idea is about the resources. Unfortunately for us, we suffer from what's called the Dutch disease. We've got so many resources God has granted us. Nigeria is the best kept secret. And you would think that when you are given a gift, you should be able to multiply it and use it for the benefit of those who own it.
You said Nigeria is suffering from Dutch disease.
Yes.
We have so much resources.
Yes.
And we couldn't harness these resources.
We apparently, and the reason is this. I told you we can't manage our diversity. You see, the human resource is the biggest resource. And that is the major resource that we waste in this country. Human beings are wasted. They are wasted at birth.
How?
They are wasted when they are energetic. And when they get old because they can't get their pensions, they are also wasted. So that is the mechanism. From birth, look at the Nigeria's maternal and child figures. It is disgraceful. It means that Bill Gates himself said, and Bill Gates doesn't have to say it for crying out loud. Many people have said it before.
Now, I'll go back to the Constitution again. I have something on Facebook that I posted this morning.
Yes.
The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic, as amended, is quoted here.
Yes.
Section 18, second chapter of this Constitution.
Yeah.
Government shall direct its policy towards ensuring that there are equal and adequate education opportunities at all levels.
Yes.
I mean, mark those words.
Yes.
Equal
Yes.
is there.
Yes.
Adequate
Yes.
educational opportunities
Yes.
at all levels.
Yes.
2, government shall promote science and technology.
Yes.
3, government shall strive to eradicate illiteracy.
Yes.
And to this end, government shall, as and when practicable,
Yes.
provide free compulsory and universal primary education,
Yes.
free secondary education,
Yes.
free university education,
Yes.
and free adult literacy program.
Yes. You see, the whole thing...
This is in our Constitution.
It is in our Constitution, but the comical thing about that provision is that the only provision of the Constitution that is non-justiciable.
Do we need to go to court for this?
What we are saying is this. Well, it shows you the unseriousness or the insincerity of those who put that provision there. They put the provision there as a placative to let the people know, okay, we have said it all. Then they put another provision which says that they don't have to do it. You see the crisis and the contradictions in terms. If it was so and they took it seriously, then why isn't the Child Rights Act endorsed in all the states of the Federation? Unfortunately, most of the northern states, they refuse to sign up with the Child Rights Act, and that's where they are kidnapping. That is where children are not safe. That is where women are being captured in schools. The same states where they refuse to sign the Child Rights Act. And that is in our constitution. I would say, look, when I become president, it is a zero tolerance to illiteracy and a zero tolerance to hunger. Because it is only an illiterate that does not know another man has rights. It is only an illiterate that does not care for the laws of the Federation. It is only an illiterate that doesn't care who rules, now, as long as he has eaten today.
It's interesting to know that we have that in our constitution as a provision. Interesting, it's there. But you are saying that you have zero tolerance to illiteracy.
Yes.
In other words, you want to make education a plank of your administration.
Every Nigerian citizen, from birth, every citizen must be literate.
A Nigerian is asking you,
yes,
if elected, and the 3 points you just mentioned earlier, how are you going to make things right and galvanize a better government and governance for the country? Mark the word how. How?
Now, you see...
That's Oluwaseun Julius on Twitter.
Thank you very much, Oluwaseun. Now, the point is this. The first thing is that you have benchmarks and you set standards which everybody has to sort of buy into. But it must be a government policy itself. And this is why I say a policy in itself that says it's zero tolerance. Then you look at the tools that you're going to work with. You're going to work with the civil service. You're going to engage with people. So to deliver in terms of the how, it's a wide question. It's one of those kind of questions that even a PhD might want to fail.
How? Yes, because we want to know if you have a blueprint.
Yes, but the point is this: there are 4 levels in implementing a policy. There are 4 things that you need to do. Right, get right. You get the governance right in terms of the decision-making processes. Whoever is president of this country doesn't mean he knows it all. It's just that he knows how to take the right decisions at the right times, lay himself the right options at the right time. So you get the governance right, and you make sure that your decisions are cascaded to the very lowest level. And all you have to do is with a bit of micro-monitoring, not micromanaging, micro-monitoring. The second thing you need to do is to be coordinated. It's coordination you need. Because it's a multi-stakeholder thing. It's not only one person involved. It's not only government. You're going to have government, you're going to have civil society, you're going to have private sectors. Even within government, you have different ministries. But everybody must be aligned in a vision and in a policy. And by doing that, you avoid wasting of resources and working across purposes. The third thing is how you communicate. So it's governance, coordination, the third, communication. And you communicate, and communication is not just government telling us and announcing and giving us directives. It's government also listening. So it's a two-way thing. You do development with the people, you communicate with the people, you listen to them. So all along you'll be having a dialogue and a conversation with the people. And the fourth one on the how is that you must do monitoring and evaluation. You must review what you do from time to time. You have to build a monitoring, and it is the feedback you get from monitoring and evaluation that you can use to increase that dynamics. You improve on the process. So the how is not number one. Development is not instant milk. But it has to be started with a process, and you can review steps. You can have yearly benchmarks. You want to do this by this year, you move to this point, you move, and it's a relay race ultimately. So you set the path, and you set the policies, you set the tone, you set the gauge, you set the character of governance itself. And this is why I'm saying capability, accountability, and the manner of your own responsiveness.
Now, I'd like us to go into that's education.
Thank you.
We might have a lot of other issues there when they call in. You can be part of this program, 08091551055, 08056998678, and 07069493000. I'll take some calls as we move on the program. But I want to talk about the economy.
Yes.
I want to look at what you have for the economy.
Yes.
The government has ERGP as we speak.
Yes.
And I'm sure you have a load of understanding of the economy.
Yes.
I know, but
at least of ERGP, yeah.
I know that. And I also know that the co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, observed that the economic and recovery growth plan of the present administration does not reflect the needs of Nigerians people, even though though it identifies investing in our people as one of its strategic objectives. Now, critically looking at the ERGP, do you share Bill Gates' opinion?
Well, I do.
In what sense?
And I want to say something. At this point, I'd like to welcome President Buhari into the race. And I'm saying this very guardedly and very significantly. I welcome him to the race he declared yesterday.
On Monday?
On Monday. And so he's an aspirant as well as I am. And in answering your ERGP question specifically, when ERGP was being developed and when it was fully developed, the next stage was for it to go into implementation. And naturally, when you develop a policy, you need to put in what is the implementation guide, what does it mean for the kind of resources you're going to deploy, and what are the impacts, how are you going to measure how it's going to grow. Right. I happen to be one of those senior consultants invited to take a look at the ERGP and to draft an implementation policy initially.
You were part of it?
I was.
Yes.
Including about another 7 of us. And it was a fully Nigerian team of people who have had vast, experience in international development. And it was an excellent team. And I was, and we had meetings with government officials, at the villa, on that. And we was about to set the ball rolling. Now, the truth of the matter is this. Between you and I, it would have cost that team about 50 million as bills for about some sort of 50-day job. All Nigerians.
50 million?
Yes. It would, not more than that, including expenses for 7 of us to have done that job, and we would have produced something expert for them.
So what happened?
All of a sudden, everything went quiet. Only for us to gather from the news that that contract was given to a Malaysian company for over $100 million. Well, sorry, $1 million, which is about
360 million.
Now, if you get Malaysians to come and interpret an economic growth and for Nigeria, first of all, they are going to look for interpreters to interpret the language. Secondly, they are going to look for Nigerian consultants who know the context. And this is how this is why we don't get value for money.
Now,
this is what the problem.
Make it better.
Yes, please.
You were consulted.
Absolutely.
Did you go to Aso Villa?
Of course I did.
And so what happened to your own meetings?
Well, we had meetings, but all of a sudden it kept quiet. It went quiet.
And so you were stopped from gathering?
Well,
anymore?
I wouldn't know what happened behind the scene. All I know is that we gathered that same contract to do what we could have done was given out for $1.5 million.
Now, looking at the content of that document afterwards, you think it was not well crafted?
It was, well, you see, a document is just a document. A policy paper is just a policy paper. We have stacks and stacks of policy papers written in Nigerian libraries and all sorts of government departments.
So beautiful document.
Making them implementable, that is the problem.
Now, beautiful document, but the implementation was not right.
There was none. There was no real, you see, there was an implementation design. But when you talk implementation, there are certain critical factors that must be in an implementation document. Some of the 4 pillars I mentioned: governance, communication, coordination, and the M&E solutions. There was no human factor. There was no how do you deploy human beings. Look, any development program, any policy that goes into government, anything that right now in Nigeria must drive employment. It must be labor intensive. It must be employment generated. And this is how funds, this is how money will go around. This is how the economy will be boomed and boosted. Not by giving it to foreign consultants to come and do what Nigerians know how to do.
Now, unemployment is another issue. I guess you're not angry.
No, that is why I first started by welcoming President Buhari to the seat. Because right now, it is a different ball game. It is about Nigeria and it's not about anybody else.
The rate of unemployment in Nigeria is staggering right now.
Yes.
Give me an insight into how you think we can solve that problem.
We have to do very fantastic things. We have to do crazy things. I said we are going to build a pipeline from Calabar, the coast of Calabar, to enter into Lake Chad. It's going to have desalination plants, and it's going to be the largest employer of labor that Africa has ever seen. Right? If you go abroad and you ask anybody who's an international expert on this, especially foreign, they will tell you it's impossible. They will tell you it's going to cost so much. They will give you every single reason why it cannot be done. But I tell you it can be done.
How?
I'll tell you why it is also necessary to be done. Most of your security issues, right, and causes for displacement is not unrelated to the shrinking of Lake Chad.
Okay,
when we were young,
the headsmen,
yes, you see,
farmers,
desertification, climate change, you see, that's a totally different issue. Desertification, climate change, which is a cause of major human displacement. Right. You have radicalization, you also have nefarious activities, and you have criminality as part of it. But between you and I, the desertification issue is big and huge. So our major engagements right now should be able to start facing climate change. If we don't face climate change issues, we are gone in 5 years. It's not a question of 10 years. If that desert from the Sahara continues to recede down south, into the south, every crowd, everything you are feeling down south, like tensions, conflicts, dryness, displacement, farmers' heartburn, is going to multiply if you don't address it now. So, and what I'm saying is that you need a huge, humongous project to get as many Nigerians employed and engaged for a period consistently. Money needs to circulate within Nigeria, not being taken out. People who go for medical examinations are taking money out.
Okay, now, Akitokumbo Adejumo here says,
Yes.
Oluwaseun Byron, if I get the name right,
Yes.
is talking a lot of sense.
Thank you very
Unfortunately,
much.
Nigerians are not ready to embrace sense.
If Nigerians are not ready to face their oppressors, there's nothing anybody can do. If God has set a man free, and he does not see himself free, then it is his own.
What I get here, Mr. Byron, is Nigeria is not ready for your likes.
Nigeria is not ready. I am here, and God is here. What else are you waiting for?
Are you sure we're ready for it?
What else are you waiting for?
Let me put this to you. You want to run campaign to govern Nigeria.
Yes, please.
Anyway, Oluwaseun on Twitter says, the ERGP, if I remember well, is not what the Malaysian consultants were brought in to do.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a different opinion about the Malaysian intervention.
I'll be happy to share. I said I had, and they didn't get back to us.
And so you didn't conclude your work on that?
So we didn't conclude our work, but they were giving a $1.5 million contract in Malaysia on ERGP. So if they were not giving for the implementation, what were they giving for? Honestly, to be honest, I beg to learn, and if tomorrow somebody tells me that I'm wrong, I will prostrate and I will say I'm
apologize.
sorry.
Okay, thank you very much for clearing that. Fuel subsidy is one sore point of this administration when it came in. I'm sure you have a lot of things to say about that. Now, are we still running subsidy in your opinion?
Do you know, should I give you the honest fact?
Of course, that's why you're here.
I don't have anything to say about it.
Why?
Do you know how dark oil is? Have you seen oil when they dig it from the ground? You see how dark it is?
I know.
That is how opaque the management of the oil sector is in Nigeria.
But you're planning to govern this nation?
When you see issues like that, what helps is when you pick the best. Number one thing I would say is that I will never become the petroleum minister.
Because you don't know so much about it?
It's not because I don't know, right? I want to supervise who is there. It's not my business to be there. It's my business to supervise who is there and make sure he does the right thing. And there are people who know the business. There are people who know exactly how it will work for Nigeria. Why we don't have any refineries working now today beats me, despite the amount that has been spent on turnaround maintenance. From Obasanjo's regime to all these ones now. All the money that has been invested in so-called turnaround maintenance can build refineries. We've talked about modular refineries. We've talked about cottage injury refineries. You see, the problem is that when you are not coordinated, you have a problem. When you're not coordinated, you have a problem, And I think when it comes to the management of the oil sector too, it's not different. You've had issues between the Minister of State and the Group Managing Director of NNPC. You have conflicts. Somebody said this, the other said he didn't say that. So when you have that kind of a situation, of course you pay subsidy. You are paying subsidy for incompetence.
All right, the program is still The Conversation right here on Splash 105.5 FM. Is your integrity session. I'd like you to listen to what someone said about this subsidy issue. Is the Chancellor of Technical University, Ibadan, Dr. Afolabi. Let's listen to him.
But you see, what government says is that, okay, you have poor people that you have to take care of. I respect that very, very much. But we are subsidizing more of the rich than we are of the poor.
Since where?
In full, yes, because I have 10 cars, and even my one car consumes more petrol than the motor that carries 50 people, and it's only carrying me and my driver, okay? And if you ask me to pay 200 naira per liter, I'm not going to cry. I won't, because I know that is what the commercial price is, okay? But you are subsidizing me. I don't need it.
Do you agree with him?
Those are the kind of people that should be on the NNPC board. Those are the kind of people that should be supervising the petroleum ministry. That's my answer.
Okay, 08091551055, 08091551055, 0805-699-8678. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling the radio station. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Zainab Kasali from KOWA Party.
Great. Let's have your question.
Huh?
Let's have your question. Go ahead. Okay, someone is here. I guess that is not very clear. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling the radio station.
Nadele speaking from Iworo, Ibadan.
Great. You have 90 seconds. Let's have your
I have
contribution.
listened to our aspirants, and he has spoken very well. Mr. Presidential Aspirant, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Are you aware of the problems we have in Nigeria, which I will highlight in 5 ways?
Okay.
And I want to know how you intend to go about it.
Thank you.
1, we are too condemning as a people.
Yeah.
2, we are too impatient as a people.
Yeah.
3, we are full of confusion as a people.
Yeah.
4, we are insatiable as a people.
Yeah.
And 5, we are bad followers.
Yeah.
You spoke about a government that invited you for a project.
Yeah.
Where is the place of patriotism and selfless service to be able to have good governance in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Must we always think in terms of the Nigeria we can butcher and get something for sale?
Yeah.
Or must we think of the Nigeria we can sacrifice for and get something for the betterment of the people?
Yeah.
How do you intend to cope with this kind of the people that you are going to lead? How are you going to make a difference? Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you
sir.
very much for your comment. Someone is on that line. Let's check. I'd like you to take these questions and you respond to them together. Hello.
I wish I had.
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Oluwaseun Akinola.
Hey, welcome, Oluwaseun Julius.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir. How are you? Thank you.
You analyze something of building a pipeline from a place to the child. It's still a child or thereabouts. Now, when you look at it, I want to say within my spirit that it's going to take a very high amount of money. Where will you source for that money? If you are being made the president of this country with that kind of a project, are you not going to plunge the country into more debt? Second question, how do you imply to make human development one of your priorities within the shortest possible time of you coming into office? Now, for example, we are having unemployment as one of the things that is making people to commit different kind of crime. And people are not developed, and we have good infrastructure here and there, but human development is seriously lacking behind. What is your own agenda, your real agenda for people in this country so that they can stay and live in Nigeria and make a better living within the country?
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Oluwaseun Julius. Now, I'd like you to add this to it.
Okay.
This is a political question, really, and I meant to ask you, let's say you get the ticket of your party.
Yes.
You're still an aspirant. You're still hoping to go to the primaries.
KOWA Party.
And
That's
get
the party.
the ticket of your party.
Yes.
How do you hope to connect other parts of the nation? You know, are you building networks to each state of the nation where you can harness, votes from there? And my own question, that's a question from someone who's listening to us on Twitter.
Yes.
But my own question is, how much do you understand the voting demography of Nigeria?
Okay, thank
so
you very
we'll
much.
discuss that together. So someone is on the line. Let's check the last question here.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the program.
This is Steve.
Steve, welcome.
Steve.
I want to ask you, which platform did you want to contest? That's number one.
He said it's KOWA.
Okay. No, I'll say that.
Yes.
Is that
Which ward or constituency or your local government?
okay.
Yes,
Okay.
from.
Okay.
And
Okay.
now another one thing is this. Majority of we, the elites,
Yeah.
we just want to jump the gun,
Yes.
not going to the constituency or to the people that need us.
Yes.
For example, majority of the aspirants, they are now with the elites. The elites
Yes.
that have been enjoying
Yes.
this so-called system that is corrupt.
Yes.
Why are you not going to the marketplace like Hakeshen or Water?
Okay.
Bere,
Yes.
Wadata market in Makodi,
Yes.
Kuto in Abeokuta,
Yes.
going to these elites
Yes.
that I know majority of them,
Yes.
75% of them will not vote.
Yes.
Go
Yes.
and go to the grassroots and see the people. Have a nice time.
Thank you very much, Steve. So let's put this together.
Okay, let me start from the very last question. Yeah, because while it's still fresh. Number one, I'm a founding member of KOWA Party, and I'm in on the platform of KOWA Party. I'm seeking presidential tickets under KOWA Party. That's one thing. I'm from Lagos State. I live in Ikeja, and my ward is there. And even up until my neighborhood community, they know I'm running for elections. Thank you very much for the suggestions on going to the marketplaces. Yes, it is true, but you can know that on Splash FM is the radio that takes you to the marketplace. And that's this opportunity is there. So I also want to thank Splash FM for this. So that's answered that. Now, the first person who asked the question said Nigerians were complex. They were impatient. They were, he said a lot of things. To an extent, that is true. But we also have great Nigerians with fantastic talent, plenty of resources. I mean, look, I've worked in virtually every sphere in civil society, private sector, government, public sector, even this government and public sector that we abuse many times. There are so many Nigerian civil servants that are doing so much work, just doing the right thing. But they are not in the majority. They are in the majority, but they are not the noisiest. It is the one. So, a very small bunch of people can spoil the whole, thing. So I believe in the human nature. I believe in the talents of Nigerians. And I've said the first thing is to be able to manage diversity. When you manage human beings, diverse human beings, everybody is playing because there is nobody that does not have a strength.
Let's address this part of that question.
Okay.
He said Nigerians are impatient because of time.
Yes.
How do you intend to manage the impatience of Nigerians? We're impatient for development.
The solution to those who are impatient is by being responsive. And this is why I say you have to be capable, you have to be accountable, and you also have to be responsive.
So let's go to the next one.
So you have to communicate. Then the next one is you talked about the cost of the pipeline. Yes, the pipeline is going to take a humongous cost. But what we are going to do is that we're going to work out the most labor-intensive manner of delivery. There are researchers within all the technical input in terms of the thinking, the engineering stuff will be sourced from within Nigeria. There are too many universities in Nigeria that are wallowing, that are writing papers and writing documents and doing this research and engineering capability in this country, and nobody is paying attention to them. So we have to look local. Also, everything the government can do to save money in terms of frivolity, we will do it. We will do it. We will do it for the sake of the people, and we will do it for the love of the people. We will do it so that people can get jobs.
Okay.
And the point is that what brings the economy up is that when money is circulating in a particular space for a considerable number of period. The third issue he said was how do you, it was about the human beings, promoting human development. Absolutely. I said a zero tolerance for illiteracy and a zero tolerance for hunger. You want to isolate and immunize. Take for example, and I have to go back to this anti-corruption issue, because corruption is a very significant issue in this country, and it must be dealt with. But you can't deal with corruption as if you are chasing 100 rats in a room. By the time you catch 10, another 10 have given birth to 10 children. And in this country, corruption has been even taken to another level. It's organized crime. But you can isolate certain ministries and certain sectors from corruption. Isolate the Ministry of Health from corruption. Isolate the Ministry of
When
Education.
When you use the word isolate,
yes.
What do you mean?
I mean that you If it means putting an EFCC in every Ministry of Health facility, in the Ministry of Health, before in Nigeria,
do we have such a manpower?
No, before in Nigeria, we used to have what is called the ACTU, right? Anti-Corruption Technical Unit in every single ministry. It was developed in sometime 2005-6 under Okojo Iweala. We worked with the federal government to be able to institute all those things, those committees, right? And
why are they not working?
No, because people purposely made them not work. Because people don't want to,
So how would you make it work?
It's leadership. It's leadership and incentives. Where you put your incentives, that's where people flow. You put a disincentive somewhere, people avoid it. And you see, people look at the leader a lot. And you have to source for the right people. There are leaders in this country. It is not about one leader. It is not about one president. It is about how many leaders can we produce. It is about how many people have the same kind of spirit. And everybody needs to wake up and come together.
Okay.
So that is it. The fourth question, which has to do with, the voting demographics of Nigeria.
Yes, let's talk about that.
It's a beauty, and I will combine it with the other question of whether I have reached different parts of the country. Well, KOWA is a party that is present in about 27 states now, solidly present, in about 27 states. We have chairmen all over the place. I've visited the Southeast. I've visited Kano. I've Borno. I'm engaged with Borno. I haven't gone there yet, So I'm making my, as long, as resources permit, these things are. Well, so we go, and then, but the voting demographics is this. Look, there are all sorts of voters in Nigeria. You have those who vote, and you have a whole large population who don't vote. Only 8% of Nigeria's voting population voted for General Buhari, right? The voting demographics has changed now, because somebody who was born in 1999, when Obasanjo was being sworn in, can vote today. The voting population now is most people who are going to vote are under the age of 35.
Most people are going to vote.
Yes.
Well, how did you come
because
about
that's the
that?
population. The population 35 below are the active population. Those people, okay, let's put it this way. I'm sorry, let me retract that. I think the greater number of Nigeria's voting population are under the age of 35. That's a different way of putting it. What I'm saying is that the younger population is in the majority.
I know.
Now, we intend to, of course, you have voting population also based on gender. You have the women, you have the men. You have voting population based on ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
You get my point? You have voting population based on, religion.
So how do you intend to reach out to all of these demographics?
Reach out to all of them. There's a message for everyone. There's a message for woman, no Nigeria. No woman, no nation. There's a message for the young. You kill the young, you kill the future. Is it because that's it? It is the young people today that are going to pay my pension tomorrow. You think in 10 years' time I will be running around like this? I will be depending on somebody who is 30 years old to hold my hand.
Now,
so that is it. There's a message for every tribe, every religion.
I'm sure you know that the way Nigerians play politics today,
yes.
There's money politics in Nigeria.
Yes, there is.
You know?
Yes.
Are you going to give money?
To who?
To people who are going to vote for you. Are you going to give money to delegates?
Absolutely not.
You're not going to give money to delegates.
Look,
you're not going to have.
No, cool down.
No, are you going to?
KOWA Party, you see, you are thinking PDP.
I am not thinking
you are thinking
a party.
APC. You are thinking that type. That is you see, it is like a way of thinking. What I'm saying is this: anybody who is a volunteer will definitely get his per diem. I can't send you to somewhere and not give you transport money. I can't send you somewhere and not give you food to eat. We have 120,000 police stations.
I'm talking about
That's
inducement.
What I'm saying.
Are you going to induce
I said
voters?
No. The only thing that we induce them is with what I have to say, what I have to offer. And with the blessing of God.
You are not going to induce your delegates?
My brother, you don't know me.
I want to know you.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to induce them. I said what I'm going to use to induce them.
You are not going to give rice.
If I have a party, of course, I'm not going to. If I don't give rice, I will give pounded yam.
You are not going to give groundnut oil.
If I have a party in my house and there is carry go or take away, they will take away.
Not your campaign.
If I have a party, one day hand come, but it is not going to be something that people will see as a stomach infrastructure or an insult, in the sense that it will be something, I mean, it will flow naturally. If I ask a young man, call him and say, go to that place, of course I will give him money for taxi. And if he does it well and he comes back to me, that is not a problem with me. But stomach infrastructure and giving people food only because you want to elect them, any infrastructure that you have to change when you go to the toilet is an insult.
My last question is coming from
all.
Twitter. Mr. Aspirant, what do you intend to do as regards workers' welfare?
Well, workers' welfare is critical. It has to be balanced too. Workers' welfare will be balanced with workers' performance. We have to be truthful to ourselves. There has to be value for money. There is nothing. In the first place, one thing I can promise as president is that, I won't deprive any worker of something that I myself will be enjoying.
Okay.
If they say, I'm getting a steady salary, workers will have to get a steady salary, even if it means I'm the last person to get paid. Absolutely.
Mr. Additional Ayodele Fagbenro-Byron.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Why the name Byron?
Well, the Byron is a family name. You see, my great-great-grandfather was trained by a British surveyor called Byron. And so he adopted his name Fagbenro-Byron.
Thank you for coming on the program.
That's a family name. Thank you very much.
I wish you luck.
Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
That's the program. That is the start of the program for today. I thank you for listening. I'll be back on Saturday where we'll engage more on our political scene. I'm Oluwaseun Akinola. Do enjoy the rest of your day.